Hello everyone, Theron here, and for today's video I'm going to be talking about my favorite exercise and how I perform my favorite exercise, that being the deadlift and pulling from the sumo stance. Now I pull from the sumo stance just because it fits my leverages better and I feel 10 times stronger from the sumo stance as compared to the conventional stance. So I'm going to be shedding some insight to you guys about how I like to set up for the sumo, some mental cues, and just some other things while I got some workout footage running in the back. So I'm going to be running this clip again. I'm just pretty much going through my setup very slowly. I'm very ritualistic about my setup, so I'll be talking about it to you guys right now. So first things first, I like to get my feet staggered off to the side right here. And now I put my shins so they're roughly an inch away from the bar, and that way when I drive my hips back, my shins touch the bar. Now here's the thing with the sumo, you guys, you're not squatting down, you're hip hinging, you're driving those hips backwards. I'm going to show a few lines right here to dictate where I'm at before I start my pull. So I'm driving my hips back. As I get nice and tight and squeeze everything in, the bar lands right over my shoulders and my chest is upright, and you'll notice that my legs, they're perpendicular with the ground, they're not parallel. If I'm parallel, I'm pretty much going to be pulling the bar into myself, and it is not an ideal angle to start your pull from if your legs are parallel with the ground. I feel like it's just wasted movement. And the reason I feel like it's wasted movement is because if you're squatting down, I find myself that I've had a lot of people critique my deadlift in this gym that I'm lifting in here, and they say you should squat down more, you should squat down more. Well, my lower back begins to round if I squat down more just because I can't pull from my upright angle. And this is one thing I do want to say right off the bat before I get further into this video. Everyone's going to pull from different angles, have different stance widths. They're going to either sit back more, be more upright, but ideally you just want to follow the general tips. And the first one being that I'm getting tons of leg drive to start this lift, you guys. I'm acting like I'm splitting the floor. I'm driving through my heels, and I'm pretty much acting like like I said, splitting the floor and pushing the ground apart under me when I'm doing the sumo. It's the same concept as when you're doing the conventional deadlift, where you're pushing the ground away from you. I'm pushing the ground apart from under me. Julio also does the sumo deadlift as well. His setup is almost just as similar as mine. He starts a little bit more inside than I do. He gets a lot closer to the bar. He really emphasizes dragging that bar upright to him, but his bar path is straight, and you'll see his leg angle. He's pretty much perpendicular as well when he starts his pull. And another thing from the leg drive aspect, you're getting a lot of hip drive. Not only are you getting hip drive from driving your hips forward, because you want to bring your hips to the bar, essentially. I mean, yes, you do want to emphasize keeping your lats tight and act like you're dragging the bar into you, but it'll make the movement a lot easier if you think about it like this. Like with the squat, I'm driving my hips up. I'm shooting my hips up, and then the bar will follow me. So right here, I'm driving my hips up and then driving my hips forward. This is such a hip-dominant movement. It's not a yank off the ground, and I feel like this is where a lot of people lose strength off their deadlift. They just try to tug it off the ground. They're using more of their upper body and back trying to tug it off the ground, and not so much their leg drive and hip drive, which is where this movement is going to take place, in your hips and legs, you guys. It is a strong emphasis if you get your hip drive. It's so key to the sumo deadlift, and that's the number one thing I can give you guys as a takeaway from this. It's all in the hips. So now that I've talked about my main emphasis being in your hips, I will talk about a little bit on what's going on with the upper body. Now, with my upper body, I really just focus on trying to maintain upper back tightness and maintaining lat tightness as well. And you can see when I get my setup, I do this thing where I kind of round forward and I slowly drag myself down into position and then I pull. The reason I'm doing that is because I've seen Khalil Woolam do it, and I figured I'll give it a try myself. This was probably 6 months ago I started doing this. And what I'm doing is I'm actively tugging the slack out of the bar, and as I'm dragging myself down, I'm tightening my lats, turning my biceps forward, and I just get so tight from that position where the bar's already pretty much coming off the ground by the time I initiate my push off the floor. So maintaining that upper back tightness is just going to keep it so you're not slacking forward. If I'm not tight in my upper back and I'm really just trying to shoot my hips up and the bar's not following, I'm not maintaining an upright torso, I'm gonna have a lot of things going wrong if I don't maintain that tight upper back. So to wrap it up, the main takeaway points I want everyone to take with the sumo deadlift is, remember, you're splitting the floor, you're driving your hips up and in, you're bringing them to the bar, and you're pulling the bar in a straight line. And like I said earlier in the video, one size isn't fits all for any lift. You're all going to have your different forms, you're all going to have your different stances, your preferences on how you like to pull, but we should all follow the same general concepts, like splitting the ground, getting proper hip drive, maintaining upper back and lat tightness. We should all follow those tips. Now, if you're up in there about which stance is right for you, just try both. Find your form for each and see what one you like the most, and see what one you feel strongest at and you can keep the best form at. I hope this video was very helpful to you guys. Until then, I'm gonna try to upload more frequently. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.